all of this news, personnel changes, tough talk on trades, Mr. McMaster reportedly now perhaps on the way out. What's noise and what's real?
Well, the major thing that I would take away, and it sounds a little bit flippant, but it is, if you join the Trump cabinet, irrespective of the time of year you do it, don't order a turkey for Christmas. You're not going to be around to receive it. The turnover, it is not bad per se. After all, he chooses whomever he wants to. The turnover is very bad because it shows that there is enormous dissensions between the cabinet on actual policies. It's not a matter that everybody agreed on a specific set of policies, but somehow incompetently or for whatever other technical reasons they don't carry it out, is that they disagree with the president. The president clearly doesn't like advice that doesn't agree with what he's thinking. And I think this is frightening. The history is packed with people that simply ignore advice. The best leaders we know are the leaders that they might argue back, they might fight furiously.
But they welcome dissent.
But they were a classical example was Churchill, that absolutely yelled and screamed at his advisors and at the end says, you're absolutely right, that's exactly what we're going to do. And didn't fire them. The other complete opposite, but I hate to bring this up because it's a very poor comparison, was of course Hitler, that shot anybody that didn't agree with him. Of course, he lost the war. So I'm sorry, these are two very extreme examples again. But it is indicative of my concern. It is not that he fires people. My concern is that clearly the cabinet can't agree on policies. In other words, he agrees on policies, Trump agrees on policies, but not the cabinet, again.
Yeah, Andrew, maybe a less extreme and more contemporary context to be given is now you've got this similar situation of leaders not liking dissent, to put it mildly, almost a consolidation of power to one-man rule, not just in China and in Russia, but also now taking place to an extent in the US. What does that kind of tell us about the global power shift, I guess, or the way that global order is really being changed?
You know, I must admit, I'm beginning to beg to differ as to what's happening with Xi in China. In other words, I suspect the concentration of power is much more indicative of the desire of the Communist Party to be in control of the inevitable succession issue, rather than Xi deciding that he's going to be the king of the universe. It's going to be a sort of a kind of benign Darth Vader. I'm not quite sure if this is quite right. And of course, since we have no idea whatsoever what's going on in the internal cycles of the Politburo, we don't really know how true or not true the absence of opposition is. So I'm not quite sure that I'm going to take this as indicative. Putin is a very good case. Duterte in Philippines potentially is another good case. Erdogan in Turkey is potentially another good case. But there we have things that are much more obvious and much more clear rather than China per se, which does not mean that I'm defending China's, let's say, record on democratization. But I think it is a little bit perhaps too early to say all that has happened is that Xi now became a kind of Mao on steroids kind of thing. I don't think so.